Hey there, everybody. I'm here with some more information for you about boilers. Now, when we think of an explosion with a boiler, we normally think about like a power plant or something along those lines. But what if I told you that your very own home could be hiding one? And I don't mean like in the walls or anything like that. I mean literally, it could be sitting right out in the open and you wouldn't even know it. I've been working on this project for a while now and trying to get everything just right for all of you. You see, I wanted to do something different than I normally do. So I did a little research and found a really cool way to actually make my videos better for all of you. So let's talk about hidden boilers, because that's kind of what we're dealing with today. In order to understand how some of these things happen, we have to understand what makes a boiler explode. Most people think it's the pressure. No, it's not the pressure, it's actually the water. When you put water into a boiler system, it turns into steam, and that steam has a lot of energy in it. That's why you can use it to power things. Now, this is where things can go wrong. If you don't have enough water in your boiler, then you're going to end up having a situation where you're burning fuel, but you don't have enough water to turn into steam. So the energy from the fuel source starts to build up until boom, explosion. Now this isn't necessarily something that happens with like a traditional boiler that you might have in your home. Those are usually like low pressure systems. This is more common with high pressure boilers like you would find maybe in a power plant or something along those lines. But there are some cases where you can have low pressure boilers that also have issues like this. One of the more common scenarios that I've seen is something like this. You have an older home, okay? And in that older home, you have a boiler system that's hooked up to radiators. Maybe it was natural gas, maybe it was oil, maybe it was coal. Doesn't really matter at this point. What matters is that that boiler has been long since abandoned and they filled it in with dirt. So you have this area here that was once a boiler room, but now it's filled in with dirt. You have soil above it, you have maybe a basement above it, and you have all this like super high pressure steam just sitting there waiting, looking for an opportunity to escape. Well, over time, what happens is the pressure from the steam actually starts to force its way up through the soil. And depending on how much pressure we're talking about here, it could actually push its way up through the concrete. And once it gets up into the living space, all it takes is just a small opening, maybe like a crack in the foundation or something like that. And that high-pressure steam just blasts its way up through there and out into the home. Now, this isn't going to happen very often, but it can happen. Another scenario I've seen is maybe you have an older home again, but instead of having the radiators, you have baseboard. So this one, you've got the boiler here, and then you've got the baseboard over here. And so what happens is the baseboard, especially if it's older, starts to degrade. And this degradation creates a situation where you get leaks in the baseboard. And these leaks allow the pressurized water from the boiler to actually start leaking out into the floor. And now you have this water that's coming out of the baseboard, and it might not seem like much, but it's actually at a very high pressure. And so when that water hits the floor, it just explodes everywhere. If you have water accumulating in your basement, especially in areas where you wouldn't expect it, check those baseboards out, because there's a good chance that's what's going on. Now, this doesn't always have to be something catastrophic like a full-blown explosion. Sometimes it could just be a leak, but even a small leak can cause big problems because it's super high pressure water. Thanks for watching.